Today on the show, we have Luke Acree. He has helped over 38,000 agents with this marketing plan. You're not going to want to miss this, and you're also going to find out why am I always in my car.
Welcome to the Mark Pattison Show. I went from being a solo agent to selling over $1 billion in real estate in just 6 years. I flip houses, I run a portfolio of investment properties, and I help people like you create lifestyles they couldn't even imagine living. I'm going to show you how to make riches through real estate. Welcome to the Mark Pattison Show.
So I'm back in my car again like a typical real estate agent, but today I'm super stoked. We got Luke Acree on. He is the president of Reminder Media, helping out about 38,000 real estate agents this year alone. And he's just, one of those guys that you just immediately want to be drawn to, loves to help out, loves to give value. So I was excited to have him on the show. So Luke, introduce yourself. Happy to have you.
I love it, man. I appreciate the opportunity. Like you said, name's Luke Acree. Excited to be here, excited to give value. I have been helping real estate agents for over a decade now, really with what I think is the most important thing in any business, which is relationships. How do you keep in touch with your relationships? How do you grow your database to make sure they never forget you? They not only don't forget you, they rave about you. Even convinced my own brother, my younger brother, to get into real estate. So now real estate's in the family. So he's an agent in Virginia. You guys can look him up. His name's Stephen Acree, but he's a top producer out there. So real estate's now in the family, but I've been living and breathing it, and from a marketing standpoint for the past decade.
Nice. So how did you get into marketing? What was your background that brought you around?
Yes. Well, I'll give you the short 30,000 foot view. So I grew up in a family. I was homeschooled, family of 8 kids, all the way up to college. So it's something really unique about me. So homeschooled all the way up to college, thought I was going to be a rock star in a band, had a band with my brothers, traditional story of a band. Love broke up the band. My brother, the drummer, who was the only real talented one, got married. So I had to get a real job. My mom convinced me, hey, try community college, because school really wasn't my thing. Went to school and did a computer certificate. And at the community college, realized, hey, I like computers, have a knack for it, and ended up transferring to a 4-year university, got a degree in computer science, and started a web design business with my brother, Dan, who was the drummer. So he's an incredible designer. And so him and we started a company called Nextmark Design, did that for about 4 or 5 years. That's where I got involved with Steve. So it's a whole family business thing here. So Steve had started Reminder Media about 18 years ago. He's my uncle. And he started mentoring me with Nextmark Design. And he had reached a point where I think a lot of entrepreneurs reach in their journey. And maybe you listening to this find yourself here. You get burnt out, right? The roller coaster, the ups and downs, you get burnt out, not sure what you want to do. Steve had reached that point, and he convinced me and my brother Dan to join forces with him to see if we could take Reminder Media to the next level. And he was doing some print stuff. We were doing some digital. And man, God's just blessed us, man. It's been amazing. We've gone from like 40 employees to 300. We've helped over 100,000 small business owners now, and it's just been an amazing ride. That's what really led me into, when I was really trying to revive this idea of Reminder Media, is sales. And so first day, kind of picked up the phone and started cold calling real estate agents. And within 2 hours, got somebody to sign up for what we were doing, and realized, wow, we could build out a huge sales team. We can help a lot of people, and been really focused on that for the last almost 11 years now.
Nice, dude. I love the passion. I can tell. It's like with my, anytime an entrepreneur or someone who's involved with, the big picture stuff, I can see it. It's already pretty amazing what you've already done. Lovely thing though is, don't you always feel like you have more to do? You're like, oh, I'm only here.
Man, it is unbelievable. Like, one of the things that kills me all the time is shiny object syndrome. Like, yes. I feel, oh, I'm drowning in opportunity. And then you look at the opportunity, and then you get into a danger zone, which is comparison, right? So that, I don't know if you've ever found yourself there. It's like sometimes in the entrepreneurship journey, you're like comparing yourself to the people beside you. We even joked when we were coming on this podcast of the kids making millions off of YouTube. And I'm sitting to myself, man, I've been at this for over a decade, and these kids are making millions off of YouTube. But yep. There's still so much more to do, and I love it.
No, for sure. So what's some tips? I know what I do to kind of help out with the shiny object syndrome. What do you guys do to make sure that you're not bouncing around, especially for the entrepreneurs listening? What's some tips that you can advise on them?
Yeah. So one of the things that really focused me was really putting pen to paper of what my vision was and what my mission was for the company. and trying to use that as my guiding light. And the cool thing about a vision or a mission is it's something that's outside of you that can help keep you accountable. So every executive meeting, so I have a bunch of people on my executive team now in my C-suite, and we open up every single meeting with our vision, which is we want to empower entrepreneurs and business owners to live a life of freedom. And then I don't know if anybody's explained this like it's been explained to me. It's a vision is how you want to see the world. That's the impact you want to make. So that's where we're headed. We will probably never accomplish it fully, but we're going to empower entrepreneurs to live a life of freedom, more time with their friends and family, more time doing the things they love. The mission is what you do tactically every single day to get there. And our mission is we want to empower our clients to close more deals and retain more business. And so what we really hone in on is going, okay, in everything we do, is that at the center of it? Can we be the best in the world in this product line, in this strategy at helping our clients close more deals? And I joke with our team all the time, look, if water bottles become the secret to helping real estate agents close more deals and retain more business, look out. We're going to get the best water in the world. We're going to create the best water bottles, and we're going to be selling water bottles. So that's really been the guiding force that helps me keep focused. And then also realizing, look, if you have 4 balls in the air and you're moving as hard as you can only move them 25% down the field. If you have 1 ball, you can move it 100% down the field and you can score a touchdown. And so I learned that lesson the hard way. A couple of years, I had a lot of things going, a lot of initiatives, and we were working so hard, making very little progress. I cut everything off except our central focus and said, we're going to do this one thing 100%. And that's when our company started growing again.
Yep. I love that too. Is my, and you were talking about family business. My brother, I remember him being the wise one. He was 6 years older than me. And he's like, Mark, you're going to be the master of none and the trick of all trades. Like basically just that you do a little bit of everything. He goes, focus on one thing and be the expert at that. So it's the same way with business. It's like, we can go out and I say to my team, I'm like, hey, we can pick 3 things that we're going to master this quarter. If it doesn't align with one of those 3 things, then we're not doing it. So that way we revisit that. And then we revisit our set like every single week. We go off. And of course there's little projects, but there's only 3 big nuggets that we accomplish every quarter. But if you think about that, we get 12 huge things done every year. And by the time you look at the end of the year, you're like, wow, how did we double our sales every year? Well, that's how. Not focusing on everything. Because if we do that comparison thing where we're going up against and we're saying, hey, where are we not? We're not where they are. You're then just focused on that and you're not doing what you need to do.
It takes an extreme amount of discipline too, man. It's like the discipline to stay focused. I've been reading this book called Traction, which is kind of help. I don't know if you ever heard of it or not, but it's a system that you can implement and set your 5-year. Yeah, correct. The EOS system. So your 5-year strategy down to your 1-year strategy, down to your quarterly objectives, down to your level 10 meetings that are happening every week. And that takes a lot of discipline, a lot of structure, a lot of discipline, which quite frankly, not to beat up real estate agents, a lot of them lack. They aren't focused. They treat it a lot of times like a hobby, their business like a hobby instead of like an actual business. And I've been there too in my own business. I'm not a real estate agent myself. I've been there in my own business. You got to lock in and you've got to have that structure and that strategy.
Well, it's the same with all the like big fashion designers, the artists, they can never do. So they always have a partner or a spouse or a business partner that's like the real person behind the scenes making shit happen. It's funny to see that because that's what the real estate agent is. Mine, the implementer. So that's from the EOS system. He's my operations manager. He's phenomenal. So it's kind of like, what can we actually accomplish? Because I'm like, oh, I want to do this. And he's like, okay, that's like a 9-month project. I'm like, oh yeah, it's not going to take a weekend. So yeah.
Well, Ty Lopez gave that advice at a conference I was at. He basically said, he was talking to entrepreneurs. He said, look, if you're not an operator, the number one thing you can do for your business is find an operator to tie yourself to. If you're the sales, the visionary, the marketer, whatever it is, tie yourself to an operator because it takes an operator plus the visionary plus the salesperson, usually for great companies.
Yeah. And if you are the visionary, be careful how you deliver information to an operator because it'll freak them out. When you come up with new ideas and just vomit on them, they kind of get scared. I remember my operator talking to our coach. We share a coach so that we can kind of have a middleman help us. And he's like, man, Mark never checks in with me. He just like lets me go. And there's no structure. He's so used to he worked for the government beforehand, which is funny. It takes forever for anything to get done. I'm like, let's do this right now.
You're like, we need this done tonight.
Yep. So I'm learning how to, I'm a quick learner. So the second I learned, I'm like, all right, I got to make sure I deliver information a little bit differently. So we use Trello. We have an
Okay.
inbox
Yep.
where we go on there every week. So what kind of systems are you guys using for your projects?
So we use Jira. So we got that. It came out of the software development side. It's very similar to Trello. We actually have people that use Trello in our organization, but Jira is the main thing we've shifted the organization to. We also have a CRM we built custom for our business. If you don't have a CRM in your business that's helping you manage your contacts, helping you manage your relationships, your transaction flow, you really, really need that. The problem with most CRMs is they have too many bells and whistles and people can't figure them out. But there's some great ones out there that I would encourage you to use. Our sales team, like we measure everything. Right? We're measuring everything, the phone time. We know it takes 9 calls to close a real estate agent, right? We know the emails that are being sent. We know, what our metrics are. My average salesperson has to make 200 calls a day or 4.5 hours of phone time, or they have to close 4 new accounts. Like we know that. And because we know these structures and these systems, we can then get scale. Like McDonald's doesn't have the best food, right? But man, do they have amazing business model and they can pump out burgers all the time. So
it's funny, as I was on a sales team, this is before real estate, and I have not thought about this until you just did the talk time call. So we used to have a certain amount of talk time when I worked at Groupon, when I was in sales, and we would call the Hall & Oates hotline and listen to Hall & Oates on the radio. They had like 4 songs that would be on repeat, and it would help our talk time.
That's so funny. You know what's crazy about that too? It's like, I totally get that. We've actually had employees do similar things. We had somebody call, I think it was Sprint, and they set on like a Sprint, operator and kept bouncing back and forth. But you know what that speaks to is it really speaks to what I always tell people is, look, first you must hire for alignment and vision. So if you're trying to build a sales team, so now my sales team's over 150 people on the phones, and you have to really try to find, and when I mean aligned to vision, I mean, what's the vision they have for their life? Where do they want to get to? What do they want to achieve? And then go, if I help them achieve that, does that push the company and Reminder Media to the vision it wants to achieve? And what I have found is when you hire based upon those alignments, it is unbelievable because the sales rep is showing up. They're not even thinking, like my best sales rep never look at their phone time. They never, because they don't have to. They just they're showing up, they have their vision for their life, what they're trying to accomplish, the goals for their family, all that good stuff. And because they have that vision and because them achieving that vision aligns with Reminder Media achieving it's a beautiful relationship.
Yep. And it's talking about the right people on the bus and having them in the right position. I know you can never I know team leaders, they're, the real estate agents kicking butt. So they start a team and then they get these agents and they're like, well, they're not doing what they need to do. And I'm like, hey, look, no one's ever going to be you. No one's going to be the team leader, because if they were you, they would have their own team. Some people don't want that.
So well said.
And if I always say, if you're pointing a finger at someone, you're pointing 3 fingers back at yourself. So if someone's not doing what they need to do, more than likely it's your fault. One, you hired them. So you're the base of blame. So for everything that you do, you got to remember that it's probably not them. It's probably you. And how can you be a better leader? Also, like you said, someone's vision, let it be their vision and make sure it aligns with your company when you hire. We hire only based off culture. I don't ask them their why. I don't ask them, grit. I don't ask them any of that. I let that kind of play out because the way we have our onboarding set up, it's going to play out no matter what. But hiring to culture, I think, is the most important thing I can do for a team.
Yep, it's exactly. Ed Milet, which I love Ed Milet. If you guys haven't checked him out, you should. He's a great podcast too. But he talks about like the greatest leaders, their vision is big enough for people to achieve the vision for their own life within the vision of the company. And the greatest leaders are evangelistic about their message. And you're hiring for culture. That's what it reminded me of, is that, look, you have this vision and this culture and this movement, I think is the best word for it. And you want to hire people that believe in the movement, that fit in. It's like your tribe, or your vibe attracts your tribe, as everybody says. So you're hiring for that. It's hiring's tough. Some of the things we've done technically, just so people know, like to try to find the right people, is we do a personality test. That's actually been really, really helpful for us. So just something to throw out there. Like we do the PI, the predictive index. And basically what it is it's a 5-minute personality test, but it's pretty awesome at IDing this is probably who the person is and their personality. And it gives you kind of an idea of what they like, how they like to be managed. It's been a great management tool for us and a great hiring tool. And we have found there's basically 4 personalities that fit well in our sale. So it's not an end all be all if you don't have that personality. It's not like we won't entertain you, but we have found, man, it's crazy. It's pretty accurate over time. These four personalities tend to make it in our sale, and these other ones, they don't really. Maybe there's another seat on the bus for them. So that's been one technical thing that we've added to our hiring process.
I have to be careful with test with real estate because agents are like me. We're pretty stupid. So when I'm answering those questions, those personality questions, I'm like, I don't even know what that fourth word means. I'm like, maybe I'm that. Describe this situation. Well, I don't even know what these words mean. So see.
No, that's so funny. That's so great.
But yeah, we hire on culture. We put them through the grind. Like we make sure that they have it. And then from there, it's been working out for my team.
Today's episode is brought to you by MarkPattisonRealEstate.com, my 6-week master real estate team course. My team was the first team ever to sell over 500 homes in a year in San Diego County. And I'm launching a course, and you can learn the fundamentals of how to launch a successful real estate team and implement proven systems and strategies that get you results fast. For more information, visit MarkPattisonRealEstate.com. Once again, that's MarkPattisonRealEstate.com.
What would you say with all the real estate agents that you work with and marketing, what would you say that are like some top things that you could recommend a real estate agent that, is looking to market themselves better? Where do they align with? Who should they copy? What do you suggest?
Yeah, what I would share with agents is, and this is my core belief, like this is what I coach people to do all day long, is if you want to get more deals, you want to get more listings, you want to get more buyers, we all do, you should be asking the question, well, where do the deals come from? Where do they happen? And not what Luke says, but what does the data say? And if you look at like the National Association of Realtors data, their last research that was put out 2020, it showed that 67% of all listings came from referral and repeat business. So what that means to me is 67% of all deals come from the relationships you have. So where should you focus first? This is not to minimize, lead generation strategies like Facebook ads or geographic farming. We help agents with that. But this is really to hone you in and say, this is the first core pillar that you should get right in your business. How are you nurturing your database? And how are you making sure that they not only refer you, they become raving fans of you and never leave? They always use you. And what I have coached agents to do, and I kind of boil it down to an acronym called FIT, which basically means, look, if you're not getting enough referrals, if you're not getting enough repeat business, which most of us say we're not, got to get your marketing from out of shape, from being fat to being fit. And FIT stands for frequency, impact, and trust. And quickly to explain kind of what that means is you need to look at your database marketing right now, how you're nurturing your database, and ask yourself, do these 3 elements exist within my marketing? So frequency, I chose that specifically because it stands for 2 things. One is the frequency of delivery. You need to be out in front of people frequently. I always recommend to people, try to be out in front of them maybe once every 2 weeks. So that might be an email you're in front of them with. It might be a print piece you're in front of them with another time. It might be a social media connection. It could be a cup of coffee. Get out in front of them every 2 weeks. I have a client, Frank Isolde, he's doing 60 million in volume, right? He's out in front of his database and his farm constantly to build that brand. But frequency is not just about the amount. This is where I think people make the mistake. It's also the frequency of communication. So what type of music do you like, Mark?
I'm everything. So let's do
You're everything. So you would go every channel. So for me, I'm wearing a flannel shirt right now. I like some country music. So I think it's because I grew up in Virginia, but I'm kind of like you. I like a lot, but country music I like. If you go to the radio, you're going to have to play a different station for country than you are for classical. There's a different frequency and it's going to attract a different breed of person, right? And so you need to think of your clients the same way. Most of us communicate to our clients on the frequency level we like, not the frequency level that our clients like. So you need to be thinking to yourself, where are my clients and what frequency should I be on? And really the key point here is what can you commit to being on consistently? So I would encourage you be on as many frequency levels as possible that you can do well. Video, social, email. If you can commit to even being face-to-face, print advertising, because you get an omnipresent effect. They see you everywhere. They never forget you. Now, here's the reason why you need all 3 essential elements is you can be frequent with a piece of trash and it can have the opposite outcome of what you want. So you have to be frequent, but you have to have the I, which is impact. And if you were taking notes, I would tell people underline this 3 times. Impact is the key to really driving home return on investment in marketing. The key to creating impact, I think, comes from 2 things. One is it comes from the quality of your marketing. So the item of value that you are delivering, what are you giving to people that's of value to them that will actually enhance their life? And then two, and this is where we all can execute on it, comes from personalization. So the more personal you can make your marketing. So Mark, if I can make my marketing really personal to you, where you're at in your life, knowing your family, knowing, what you're doing, what you're into, the more you'll pay attention. This is why I think it was Gary Vee who said, look, if you buy a car today and you watch your car commercial tomorrow, it doesn't mean anything to you. It could be the most well-done car commercial in the world, but it's not relevant. You have no need for it. So it's not impactful. And so the key with personalization, the hack I always coach agents on is the Ford methodology. This is a great sales principle, is get your CRM out. If Luke Acree is in your CRM, ask yourself, do I know the Ford methodology on Luke Acree? Do I know his family? Do I know his occupation? Do I know his recreation? Do I know his dreams? Because I guarantee you, if you find yourself knowing those 4 pillars about somebody, you probably have a pretty good relationship with them. And think about the marketing that you can now do. If you know Luke Acree was homeschooled, he played in a band, right? Which I told you at the beginning of the show. Imagine you've seen an article on a band or an article on homeschooling. I'm in your database and you send me a text or a personal message, say, hey, Luke, I saw this article on homeschooling, man. It reminded me that you grew up homeschooled. I want to see what you thought about it. And you shoot me that text message. It's super relevant. It's impactful. It leads to that memorability, which ultimately causes me to remember you and not forget about you. But the key here, I would wrap up with this, is you have to have the trust. And I know this is a lot of stuff, but it's really critical that you get this in your marketing. You can be frequent, you can create impact, but then you just get a bunch of best friends. You need them to do business with you. So you have to add in the trust to your marketing. So trust really, I believe, is the subject matter expert. So for me, I want to be known as a subject matter expert when it comes to relationship marketing. I want people, when they think, how do I keep in touch with my database? How do I create raving fans? I want people to think Luke Acree. I want to be known as a subject matter expert. So how do I do this? I need to put out educational content on my subject. I need to put out content that builds me as a credible source. So I do a podcast called Stay Paid. We actually had Mark on my podcast. I do that because I want to give back to the community and make people constantly see me frequently through my podcast, give impactful content by having guests like Mark on the show, and then build trust by talking about marketing and raising my authority on the subject level or subject matter that I want to be considered an expert in. You can also build trust through things like your accolades. You can build trust through things like social proof, testimonials from clients. So let me summarize kind of what I just threw at everybody is basically look at your database marketing and ask yourself, am I frequently in front of people? And do I have multiple frequency levels? Am I social? Am I email? Am I print? Do I have a strategy that I'm committed to in all those things? Am I giving impactful information, meaning it's high quality and it's personalized as much as I can make it personalized? And then third, is it also branding me as the SME, the subject matter expert? Is it giving credible educational content to my community, my database? Is it giving my accolades? Is it giving my social proof and testimonials? You do those 3 things. I have found beyond a shadow of doubt. It's what my brother's going to do over 250 transactions this year. His goal is 365. I took him in 4 years of the business there from this philosophy. And so this is what we do for agents. And I swear by it because it hasn't failed me and I use it in my own business.
And remember, we started off with don't compare yourself to others, because literally this entire time I was like, man, I need a lot of work to do. I was like, I need to get my marketing on point, and my marketing is good, but it needs to be even better. So yeah,
your marketing is fantastic, man. I've been following you for a while. So
we tried,
kudos.
and I have not had anyone on staff for marketing, and I have been in the business for 6 years. I'm now just getting into the fact of like, let's figure out some marketing stuff. So Luke, you're president of Reminder Media. So if anyone wants to reach out to you, where can they find you?
So would love to connect with anybody. You can find my company at Reminder Media on pretty much all the social platforms. So you can search that handle at Reminder Media or remindermedia.com. And you can find me. I'd love to share ideas, network, connect, build relationships at Luke Acree. So you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and all that good stuff. Would love to connect with you.
And that's how we connected. And this is the second podcast we've been on together and second time I've been in the car. So thank you for being on the show. I appreciate you and looking forward to having more podcasts together.
Thank you for tuning into the Mark Patterson Show today. If you enjoyed today's episode, please download so you can refer back. If you like this content and want to continue receiving real estate education for free, head over to your computer, scroll all the way down to the section after the episodes on the podcast, and select the 5 stars. If you're willing to commit to transforming your business, please visit my website, markpattисonrealestate.com. We've created a community of real estate professionals where we give back and share tips on how to succeed. Visit markpattисonrealestate.com. And remember, if you're not fucking up, then you're not trying.